Bonjour et bon début de semaine à tous. C'est le temps de l'information bilingue sur la CRTV. Madame, monsieur, bienvenue. Emmanuela, bonjour.
Bonjour, Nicole.
Vous avez les titres du journal.
Today is Africa Day, observed on the theme Silencing the Guns by 2020, creating conducive conditions for Africa's development and intensifying the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, has raised concerns about terrorism, conflicts and other pockets of violence that continue to drag Africa on its knees, and called for a united front to fight against the crisis, the coronavirus. Conferences, debates and musical concerts to mark the event shall take place online. And as our guest on this edition of the Midday News, we received the president of the Africa Export-Import Bank, Professor Benedict Oke-Orama. He shall focus on the African trade integration for the unity of African people. And on our feature page, flashes lights on the activities of a craftsman in Garwa in the north region of the country. 31-year-old Augustin is the creator of a musical instrument known as the Zundai, one of the ancient, highly solicited by people during festivals and other traditional celebrations in the north region of the country. Our reporter, Louisa Kwanka Chato, shall lead us to our feature page at the close of this newscast. Nicole?
Bienvenue à cette demi-heure d'information bilingue sur la CRTV. C'est une journée fériée et chômée sur toute l'étendue du territoire. Alors que l'Afrique est au centre des attentions ce lundi 25 mai 2020, le continent observe sa journée mondiale dans un contexte difficile marqué par la pandémie mondiale du coronavirus. Bien avant, on a décrié la montée du terrorisme. Débats, rencontres sur les défis de l'Afrique et concerts virtuels vont marquer l'événement. Les artistes de la société civile du continent africain et de la diaspora se mobilisent autour du projet Worldwide Afro Network. Notons bien que la journée mondiale de l'Afrique qui se célèbre ce 25 mai marque la naissance de l'Organisation de l'Unité africaine en 1963, ancêtre de l'Union africaine. Emmanuela, vous avez la suite du journal.
Exactly, Nicole. Africans are thus today observing the Africa Day, the 57th anniversary of the creation of the Organization of African Unity today, the African Union. 57 years after, the continent endowed with rich natural resources is undoubtedly still plagued by a series of problems ranging from problems of freedom, peace to prosperity and success, which the founding fathers wanted to see change. In his declaration, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, has regretted that terrorism, intertribal as well as interreligious conflicts, the post-electoral crisis, are what Africa still battles with, which of course casts a dark cloud of uncertainty on its future. He has joined the rest of the continent to call for a concerted effort to fight against the coronavirus pandemic. Meantime, some African musicians grouped in a project Worldwide Afro Network in the likes of Angelique Kidjo, Daphne Salatia and many others around the continent will be granting a virtual concert to mark the event. As guest on this newscast on this day of Africa, we receive President of the Africa Export-Import Bank, Nigerian-born Professor Benedict Oke-Orama, in line with activities, therefore, to mark this edition of the Africa Day. He talks to our reporter, Charles Sebune, about African trade integration, which is some sort of unity for African countries. Take a listen.
The Africa Export-Import Bank is charged to be like the trade finance bank for Africa. Under what context was this defined in 1993?
The reason we were created was because there was market failure. The international commercial banks were withdrawing from African trade finance. The market failure caused by the exit of international banks from African trade finance. If those banks were there wouldn't have an Afrexim bank today. But because in the 1980s, following the debt crisis that occurred that time, many international banks cut credit lines to Africa. So the African ministers of finance who were meeting under the auspices of the African Development Bank considered the matter and thought that creating a Pan-African trade finance institution endowed with preferred creditor status in its member countries, that would begin to resolve this problem. Now, such an institution would present a better financing risk than individual African countries. In 2015, 2016, up to early 2017, the Africa faced some crisis. There was a commodity crisis. Commodity prices fell, especially oil prices. There was also terrorism-induced crisis that affected many African economies. Africa was again set to go into the kind of crisis it saw in the 1980s. So what did we do? Because international banks were withdrawing at that time because they saw high risks. Our board approved a counter-cyclical trade liquidity facility under which we were able to disburse over $10 billion to African countries to enable them adjust in an orderly manner to the crisis.
Well, such a message should be timely for an institution like yours today when we are talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area to create the world's largest single commercial trading bloc of roughly 1.3 billion consumers with a yearly turnover of roughly $3 trillion. To the bank in which you are heading, how much is a blessing is this for African trade?
The African Export-Import Bank was created to promote regional integration. So we see ourselves as a bank that has to make the AfCFTA work. We see ourselves as the agent that will facilitate the attainment of the goals of the AfCFTA. And that is why we are responding very forcefully to it. Today, many economies are going to open their borders, remove tariffs for 90% of the products, the tariff lines. But 90% of the tariff lines, we are going to have removal of tariffs from them. That means then that many of them will suffer from revenue losses. That will determine those who have their borders open or closed in July 2020, when trading starts. So what have we done? Working with the African Union, we put in place a $4 billion AfCFTA adjustment facility. That adjustment facility is to help countries adjust to the fiscal revenue losses that will happen.
Des explications du professeur Bénédicte Oké-Orama, invité du 12h à la faveur de la Journée mondiale de l'Afrique, observée ce lundi 25 mai 2020 sur la CRTV. Dans la suite du journal, en religion, les fidèles musulmans ont prié pour combattre la pandémie du coronavirus dans le monde. Les imams à Bafoussam ont attiré l'attention des fidèles sur les dégâts du virus et l'urgence de rester alerte et de respecter les mesures barrières édictées par le gouvernement de la République dans son plan de riposte contre le Covid-19. Jean de Dieu Coigneux de CRTV Ouest pour les détails.
C'est à cause de la pandémie du coronavirus que juste les dignitaires musulmans de la ville ont prié ici à la mosquée de Bafoussam, chacun arborant un masque. Dans son sermon de circonstance, l'imam Dibo Djibrila, tout en remerciant Allah pour les grâces reçues tout au long du mois de Ramadan, il a invité les fidèles à continuer de respecter les mesures barrières édictées pour la lutte contre le coronavirus.
L'imam empêché a livré quand même un message. Il a demandé que les musulmans prient en respectant les consignes de l'État.
Dans les concessions familiales, les chefs de famille ont été des imams de circonstance et ont dirigé la prière.
Les jeûnes de Ramadan, ça s'est bien passé. Je remercie Allah.
Nous prions Allah le Tout-Puissant que cette pandémie puisse finir.
Satisfaction, malgré que le mois de Ramadan s'est clôturé par cette pandémie qui fait rage dans le monde entier.
Alhamdulillah, le mois Ramadan est bien passé. On regrette pourquoi, mais c'est fini.
Cette pluie qui a arrosé la ville aux premières heures a été considérée comme une bénédiction divine pour exaucer les vœux de voir la pandémie du coronavirus être lessivée au Cameroun.
Dans la région du Soleil Levant, commerçants et transporteurs ont reçu des masques de protection contre le Covid-19. Le gouverneur de la région de l'Est procédait à la distribution du don spécial du président de la République à Bertois. Cérémonie vécue et racontée ici par Jean du Nord Kemsé.
La maladie au coronavirus plane toujours. Il faut respecter les mesures barrières. Port du cache-nez de rigueur, distance de plus d'1 mètre entre les convives. Le gouverneur de la région de l'Est en a donné l'exemple au cours de cette cérémonie où il procédait à la distribution des 20 000 cache-nez offerts par le chef de l'État aux populations vulnérables de la région de l'Est en complément à son don spécial dans le cadre de la lutte contre la propagation du coronavirus.
Ces cache-nez sont prioritairement destiné aux commerçants qui opèrent dans les marchés, aux transporteurs, aux agences de voyage et aux personnes qui sont dans les stationnements et puis aux prisons.
Avec les tests de dépistage du coronavirus qui se font désormais à Bertois, les nouveaux cas de contamination sont dépistés plus tôt et mieux suivis.
Avant, il fallait les faire prélever les suspects et envoyer les échantillons à Yaoundé, à Tante. Maintenant, nous pouvons tester un plus grand nombre de personnes et je pense que c'est l'une des raisons pour lesquelles les chiffres augmentent.
Le gouverneur de la région de l'Est a toutefois prescrit la poursuite de la sensibilisation et du respect des mesures barrières. Les statistiques qui présentent 205 cas positifs et 5 décès, suscitant toujours des inquiétudes.
L'appel du chef de l'État, Paul Biya, à une union sacrée de toutes les forces vives pour combattre le coronavirus a été entendu dans la région du Nord. L'association Solidarité Amicale de Garoua, en abrégé SAGA, vient de mettre à la disposition des populations des quartiers périphériques de la cité capitale du Nord du matériel de protection contre le Covid-19. Étape de distribution suivie par notre reporter, Ousmane Assanda.
L'association Solidarité Amicale de Garoua est descendue sur le terrain pour ratisser large. Et cette fois-ci, sa cible de sensibilisation sur le danger de l'heure, en l'occurrence le coronavirus et la population de la zone périphérique de Garoua, généralement laissée pour compte. Pour le président de SAGA, cette descente sur le terrain traduit l'engagement de son association à stopper net le coronavirus.
La recommandation est de se soutenir. Nous sommes là aujourd'hui pour matérialiser cette recommandation qui également rejoint nos engagements pour sensibiliser les gens, pour essayer un peu de relayer les actions gouvernementales.
L'association n'est pas venue les mains vides. Dans ses bagages, du matériel sanitaire et des denrées alimentaires pour accompagner les fidèles musulmans pendant les derniers jours du mois de Ramadan.
Ils savent que c'est une réalité quand les gens descendent très bas dans les sous-quartiers pour les aider à se prémunir de cette maladie-là.
En remettant les dons, le président de SAGA a insisté sur le respect scrupuleux des mesures barrières.
Il ne suffit pas de recevoir le kit sanitaire, il est question également de les utiliser convenablement.
SAGA n'entend pas s'arrêter en chemin et promet de jouer sa partition afin de surmonter ensemble cette crise sanitaire.
Dans la région de l'extrême nord, des relais communautaires mis à contribution pour passer le message de sensibilisation contre le coronavirus. 120 pères éducateurs récemment formés viennent de recevoir leur parchemin à mairie. Leur mission est de couvrir les 10 cantons en appelant les populations au respect des gestes barrières. Les précisions de Francine Diaba de CRTV Extrême Nord.
Dire le message de la prévention du Covid-19 en langage simple pour des résultats efficaces, c'est à cette tâche que sont désormais commis les 120 pères éducateurs arrivés en fin de formation.
Nous allons aller sensibiliser porte par porte. Pour qu'ils comprennent bien, il faut que je parle en la langue Giziga.
Une belle expérience d'une sensibilisation de proximité qu'entend réitérer pour la 3e fois depuis le début de cette crise sanitaire la commune de Méry dans le Diamari.
Vous êtes sans ignorer que le Covid-19 est là. Ces pères éducateurs, c'est pour conscientiser davantage nos populations.
Accélérer la sensibilisation pour barrer la voie au Covid-19, c'est le mot d'ordre donné par le sous-préfet.
Accélération, pourquoi? Parce que le danger est à nos portes. La ville de Maroua est largement affectée. Et nous partageons une large frontière avec la ville de Maroua. C'est pourquoi nous avons voulu accélérer la sensibilisation pour faire barrière.
L'autorité administrative a symboliquement remis au chef des 10 cantons le don de kits de prévention du Covid-19, initiative des sénateurs Alioum Aladji et Julienne Djakaou.
You're on to the midday bilingual news on the CRTV. For more acres on the celebration of the Feast of Ramadan, we take you to Kribi, South region of Cameroon, where the Feast of Ramadan was celebrated with calls for solidarity among the faithful to respect preventive measures against COVID-19. The imams and other Muslim dignitaries were speaking during different prayer sessions to mark the end of 30 days fasting period. Polycarp Ati reports from Kribi.
Muslim faithful in Kribi have joined their peers across the globe to celebrate Ramadan, a feast that marks the end of the fasting month to seek the face of Allah in their daily undertakings. This year, the occasion did not take place in the usual prayer grounds in the ocean side, as the different mosques are said to have taken measures to curb the coronavirus pandemic. During the prayer session, Sheikh Imam Udun Judi called on the faithful to continue to respect all the measures put in place by the government to prevent the pandemic, like hand washing, hand sanitizer, wearing of face mask, and others. Celebrated under the shadow of the COVID-19, the Muslim faithful of Kribi are determined to apply the message received during the preaching to ensure a coronavirus-free and peaceful Cameroon.
Inshallah, automatically we are going to live by it. We believe it. We are going to follow the footstep of the advice of the Imam. We are already practicing it. Like you can see, all of us pray today with our face masks, no exception. Everybody will maintain social distancing as the Imam told us and as the government equally instructed us.
The fight against the coronavirus pandemic is no longer an affair of the government, as the Muslim faithful in the Ocean Division have joined their voices to call Allah to intervene in the eradication of the virus that is hitting the world in their different prayer sessions as they celebrate Ramadan 2020.
In Douala, in the littoral region, public gardens that often serve as attraction points to a multitude of Muslim faithful during the festivities to mark the Feast of Ramadan were near empty, with just a few coming around for souvenir pictures. Our reporter Larry's Nane Pote made a tour of such public gardens in the littoral region and compiled this report for the midday news.
Like one of the prescribed anti-COVID-19 measures that wants inhabitants to stay home and only go out except otherwise, this family has chosen to put it in writings at their door entrance.
Je fais cette plaque pour appeler à tout le monde.
I made this poster to call on all to stay at home. I wasn't expecting them to respect it, but they respected it not only in Bonaloka, but elsewhere.
Same as this family of His Majesty Saibu Omara, a majority of Muslim families have commemorated the day in the confines of their homes with little or no visitors. The few that are out at popular corners like the Bonanjo Central Post and that of the Karifudush, popular in hosting Muslim faithfuls on days like these, say they are out to immortalize this exceptional feast of the Ramadan with some pictures.
I bring children here to take some picture to immortalize the moment, the day of today, and to send to our family in other country, maybe other towns that we don't have communication.
According to Aliho Babo, he would take his family for some ice cream and finish the day at home with other family members.
From here, we will go back first, have something to eat with our family member, but without forgetting that day, we have to respect the 1 meter.
Forces of law and order are spotted at major junctions to ensure the security and respect of distancing measures on the few Muslim faithful who are out to celebrate the feast of the Ramadan.
Now onto this story. 5 persons have died in a road accident on the Limbe-Idenau Highway in the southwest region of Cameroon. The incident took place over the weekend and when a heavy-duty truck collided with a taxi transporting 5 persons who died on the spot. Details with Charles Abuna from CRTV Southwest.
According to officials of the town of Idenau, the car left Limbe for Idenau and had 5 passengers on board. Sources say it was in an attempt to escape a pothole around the Dibuncha area that there was a collision between the truck and the car. All 5 passengers of the car died. Immediately, they got wind of the accident. The divisional officer for Idenau and other military officials of the subdivision visited the scene. So far, the corpses have been taken to the mortuary in Limbe. In the meantime, the police have been investigating the real cause of the accident. The divisional officer for Idenau has appealed to the public, especially the drivers, to be prudent and strictly respect the driving code.
Et pour venir à bout de ces accidents, prévention routière, la campagne spéciale de l'opération contrôle, surveillance, répression de la gendarmerie nationale se densifie. Un point d'honneur est mis sur la traque contre les infractions à la circulation routière et l'application ferme des mesures barrières contre le coronavirus. Notre reporter Pierre Evembe était sur l'axe Yaoundé-Bertois à la suite des équipes de la prévention routière. Voici ses constats.
Axe Yaoundé-Bertois, les gros porteurs, notamment les transporteurs de grumes, se sont autoproclamés propriétaires de la route. Le 10 mai dernier, une mauvaise manœuvre d'un des leurs a causé la mort de 7 dynamiques camerounais dans un car de transport pourtant stationné sur le côté. Des pertes que ne tolèrent ni ne supportent les Pandores, dont la mission depuis 10 ans déjà est de sécuriser les grands axes dont les plus voraces portaient le nom du triangle de la mort. Et depuis lors, les risques accidentogènes ont drastiquement baissé avec les éléments de l'opération contrôle, surveillance, répression. Dans le contexte actuel, l'ennemi n'est plus seulement l'usager incivique ou le chauffeur irresponsable, et il y a un autre qui veut à tout prix utiliser la route, ce canal, pour diffuser la mort. Ce à quoi les Pandores disent non. Non au coronavirus sur nos routes. Et heureusement, les Camerounais ne préfèrent pas côtoyer ce virus qui tue sans qu'on ne le voie venir. La gendarmerie nationale est sur ces 2 fronts, traquer l'usager indélicat sans laisser passer le virus délicat.
Mama Justine Libala, a member of the Patingue group who rose to fame in the 90s with a song she sang in her native Baka language, will now spend the rest of her lives in a luxurious home. The house, constructed and fully equipped by Chapelle de la Gloire du Christ, led by Christians Baboke, was handed over to the 65-year-old who has been living in abject poverty despite her theme of the 90s. Details with Tala LT from CRTV East.
This is the song that made Mama Justine Libala popular in the late 90s on the Cameroonian music scene. After her days of success, which were short-lived, the former artist of the Patingue music group retired to her native Baka village of Mayos in the Dimakosop division, where she lived in abject poverty. During these years of difficulty, she kept on crying to people of goodwill to come to her rescue. This cry was, however, heard by the leader of the Chapelle de la Gloire du Christ, who decided to make an effort to change her condition.
This mother has cried for help, so it is the answer of that cry. We thank God because He permits it to be realized.
This church, with headquarters in Yaoundé, constructed and equipped a 5-bedroom apartment, a kitchen, a latrine, and a well. Besides this, they also handed a significant amount of foodstuff and kitchen utensils to the tune of over 20 million CFA francs.
I thank the donors who have pitied my condition and decided to help me. I thought my life as an artist was going to end in misery, but thank God for people like this with good hearts. I pray that God grants them many more blessings.
The lady, who is in her 70s, has quit the musical scene and lives in her native Mayos, where she takes care of her grandchildren. These gifts, she adds, will permit her enjoy the rest of her days on earth with a smile on her face.
Our feature page flashes light on the works of a craftsman in the north region of Cameroon. 31-year-old Augustin is a creator of a musical instrument known as zundai and highly sought after during festivities and traditional celebrations in the north region. From Calabash, the young Cameroonian carves out the zundai instrument, which for years has helped to earn him a lot of recognitions during arts and craft festivals. Luisa Akwanka Chato.
The zundai is one of the most ancient traditional instruments which is indispensable in animating during traditional ceremonies in the North region. And one of the youths of this region who has committed himself to preserving this cultural heritage is 31-year-old Augustin.
I have loved music from childhood, and I learned to fabricate the instrument from a close friend. People's love for the instrument is one of my motivating factors. From traditional ceremonies to modern orchestra, its demands keep spiking. I use goat skin, wood, and special string to fashion it.
With practice, precision born from years of refining his skill and technique, Augustin deftly outlines a female traditional dancer on a carefully chosen calabash, a craft he says is dear to his heart and worth preserving. These and other activities such as painting, he delves into with unmatched passion, evident in the quality of the finished products clients scramble for, thanks to which he has been able to win awards as well.
I got the know-how from an artisanal training center. I usually conform to the client's exigencies, but my creativity always shines through. This silhouette is a typical example. This activity is the principal source of my livelihood, with which I have even been distinguished at competition, coming in third place at a past edition of the National Handicraft Exhibition.
The youngster has vowed to enable the handicraft sector bask in more recognition, which he encourages his peers to venture into. For, as he puts it, the activity is worth its salt, empowering him financially to care for his family and others.
12h du lundi 25 mai 2020. Madame, Monsieur, nous mettons la clé sous le paillasson. Merci de nous avoir regardés. Restez sur nos antennes. Emmanuela, excellente journée.
Have a nice day, Nicole. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to keep safe. See you again tomorrow. God willing.
CRTV News, nothing but the news.
Afrique.